הדבש והעוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על ביתנו התינוקת, שמור לי הטוב. על האש המעוררת, על המים הזכים, על האיש השב הביתה מן המרחקים. על כל אלה, שמור לי אלי הטוב. על הדבש והעוקץ, על המר והמתוק.
My first connection in this endeavor was to go to a meeting with Dan Rosenthal on Bellefontaine Street. It was a two-story house, and I knew no one there because I was not affiliated, not even from Houston, and so that was the beginning of my affiliation with Congregation Bush Shalom at the very beginning. Subsequently, Joan and I were married, and I'll let her tell the rest of the story.
My earliest recollection is being a substitute teacher, and that day I happened to have two students in my class who mentioned they were going to synagogue that night. And I asked where they went to synagogue, and they told me Bush Shalom. And I said, "Oh, my husband and I are thinking about going to Bush Shalom." And that Friday night we attended services on Bellefontaine. And subsequent to that, we joined when Bush Shalom had a gala at the country club Westwood. I think Mallory was the chairman of that. And we joined after that. That was August of 1956. I think it was the camaraderie of everyone. Everybody had a job. We had help, but everybody had to pitch in and do their part to make things work. And it made for building a synagogue.
I have been in the synagogue for many years. We were the 18th member of Congregation Bush Shalom, and it has been a high experience ever since.
Chevy, it's just pumped up.
2 minutes and 20 seconds.
I was in the grocery store one day, and I said to a friend, "What kind of synagogue do you know about?" She said, "We're forming a new synagogue, and would you like to be a member?" I said, "I would like to be a member." And that's how we came to Bush Shalom. It has been for me, as I said, a high experience from day one. We were new to Houston. We made good and new friends that have lasted a lifetime. And our experiences here have continued to be precious to us.
My family joined probably in 1955. The reason we joined was because Sandra Weiner was our neighbor, and she convinced us that we would not have to drive across town to belong to a synagogue. So that was why we joined, because it was convenient. Little did we know we were going to be devoting the next 50 years of our lives to this place. My husband and I did everything from painting this building to raising money to leading seminars to whatever it was, but it was really a 24-hour commitment from us. And it was not something we planned. It's something that we got sucked into and loved every single minute of it. It is a family, and that family feeling, I think, is still here. And it's not something that you find in a larger place. One of the reasons that we enjoyed being at Bristolome was you couldn't be anonymous. You were always a big fish in a small pond. If you went someplace else, you could hide being a small fish in a big pond. But once you walk in these doors, you've made a commitment.
I'd say a year in the synagogue's existence. We had a goal that everybody pay the same dues, which is almost impossible, because that lasted for about a year and a half, a year. I had to call a surprise meeting at Alfred's Delicatessen that was then on Stella Link. And I said, bring your checkbooks. We've got some utilities to pay and a rabbi's salary. Now that happened over, there's probably 5 or 6 meetings like that. And we were able to survive. It was a tough period in the beginning. The camaraderie. I think probably we raised 4 children, all were bar mitzvahed here in the synagogue, 4 boys. We made some of our lasting friendships in Bristolome. It will always have meaning for me.
Well, go back, actually, I wasn't at the first building, but shortly thereafter. Leon and Sandra Wiener told me what they were doing and the kind of congregation that they were trying to build. And it sounded just right down the alley for me. That's what I wanted to do. And so I came over at that point. I guess the congregation may have been 5 or 6 years old at that point. I'm not sure. It was fitting of what Bristolome was supposed to be, and that is a fellowship as much as a congregation. And all of the members knew each other, spent time with each other, participated in the service together. It was a community in itself, and highly personalized and involved. It was wonderful. It is a homogeneous congregation, and it's a participatory congregation. Everybody sings along, reads along, it is involved, and that's important.
Well, we started out in a house. I think I might have mentioned that. The house was in Braeswood on Bellefontaine, and we'd meet in the living room for services and then go out in the driveway for the Shabbat. And as I said, the lady next door was not very happy about it having a synagogue next door to her. So she managed to water her lawn every Friday night during our Shabbat, and I said she watered us. The sisterhood did everything. It swept the floor, it cleaned the bathrooms, it baked the goods for Onyx Shabbats, it raised money, it did everything. Well, I would tell them that right now we are privileged to have an outstanding rabbi. And I'm sure that they would get to know him because we're a relatively smaller congregation, and that they would gain a lot from that experience. And also the fact that we are not a huge congregation, it's very easy to get involved in anything you want to, whether it's civil rights, which Bris Shalom is always very involved in, whether it's being on the board and being involved in the education of the children, whether it's being involved in maintaining the congregation, raising funds, which is always a big deal, or whether it's a number of other things. You would find a place for yourself. Being involved in Bris Shalom and raising our children in Bris Shalom was the most wonderful thing we did for our children, I believe. Our children have all been committed and are committed to living a Jewish life and raising their children Jewish, which in this day and age doesn't happen very often. And one of the highlights of my life really was being involved and being a founder of this wonderful congregation.